right? You're recruiting the family. They are the consumer of a product, and you are that product. The institution is that product, and making sure that they're willing to invest in that product is a huge thing.
Episode 113 featured Aaron Willits, the head football coach at Knox College. For more content like this, be sure to like and subscribe.
I appreciate the opportunity to chat some ball and talk about coaching and a little bit about my program.
Coach Willits is the head football coach at Knox College, which is in Western Illinois. So, to get things started, Coach, can you just share with the audience about your background and how you've ultimately gotten involved in your current role?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm an alum of Knox College, and so was fortunate in my high school days to play at a pretty successful local high school from here. My mom was the farmer's daughter, about 40 minutes north, so the farmer's daughter's son probably wasn't going to travel too far away to school, and obviously had some aspirations of trying to play at a higher level that just never came to fruition, and ended up at Knox. Chose Knox. I didn't end up there. Chose Knox. And jumped on the opportunity to be around some people that I really enjoyed in the recruiting process, and obviously Division III strong academics. Probably got a lot more out of it than what I thought when I made a decision around the football side of things. But played here for 4 years, and then really wanted to get into the college coaching side of things, and so I joined the staff as a restricted earnings guy for 2 years. Incurred my student loan debt as a Division III guy, and my folks. I was a first gen college kid, so my folks were kind of, hey, are we going to use this degree and those types of things? And I was secondary ed. Coaching was really what I wanted to do, and so I moved to Chicago, taught a year world history, lived with some of my friends that I met at Knox, and enjoyed the coaching side of things. But just the high school setting wasn't really what I was interested in. And so through an alumni connection, it's kind of a people business. And it's not really who you know, it's who knows you kind of business. And I was fortunate to get back into Division III after a year out of teaching high school at a school up in northern Minnesota, Concordia College. Spent the better part of 10 years, 9 football seasons up there, moving from position coach to coordinator, and kind of growing under another guy who was the head coach at his alma mater. So little did I know, fast forward over that experience, that I'd be back, at my alma mater, trying to do something pretty similar. But I was up there, and then got the phone call that there was going to be an opportunity back at Knox. And basically the guy that recruited me as an 18-year-old young man at transition roles at the institution, and is currently our full-time strength coach. And so he made the phone call to kind of recruit me back, and said, hey, the job's open. Do you think it's time to come home? Home on the alumni and the alma mater, but also home to where I grew up. My parents are still within the region. Both my brothers, within the region, kids and those types of things. And so really jumped on the opportunity to take Knox College, by the reins, and see if we can't move this program forward in a different trajectory than maybe where we've been, historically.
So, I'm sure that's an honor having the opportunity to coach at your alma mater. Can you talk about some of the things that you know about the college from your playing days that have served you, really well going into your coaching career now?
Oh man, like the sell of Knox, the things that were really good for me, was actually the strength of the academics. I think that really set me up to do a lot of different things, transition roles. Knox is got a very rigorous academic situation. We're a trimester institution, so we're moving at a little bit of a faster pace, with a professor population that are essentially 95% PhDs in an undergrad setting. So we've got guys, we've got professors that should be teaching grad school, and I think just that interaction with people that way, in that smaller class setting, having to communicate with a superior, and those types of things, like the quote unquote soft skills of the private liberal arts institution, I think have served me very well, and in that ability to transition from college coaching, into the high school side, and then back into college, and even dabbling a little bit in some business sales, in my resume and that side of things. And it's the ability to think critically and connect previous experience. Business sales is recruiting, and it really is I think one of the big things to recognize from a bigger picture, recruiting young students these days and families, right? You're recruiting the family. They are the consumer of a product, and you are that product. The institution is that product, and making sure that they're willing to invest in that product is a huge thing. And just the relationship side of things from Knox was important for me. Growing up in the area, and having family very close. If it, hadn't been for the people that I met here, that I probably wouldn't have been pulled to Chicago to teach in the suburbs. And that pull, got me far enough away that I was willing to go about, 11 hours away from home, and fortunate to be able to connect the circle back now. But really, I think it is, the things that I did in the classroom that I look back at now, and I'm like, well, that actually did have, value in what we do on a daily basis. And it's a connectedness in the people business.
Definitely. And I can totally relate to your experience going to a liberal arts small college, because I went to Gettysburg College. And so getting recruited as an 18-year-old student athlete, you don't really realize all those soft skills that you're going to learn. But by the time you're 22 and you're graduated, and you're, my age, I'm going to be 25 in a few months, you realize that you didn't know so much when you were just getting started. And just everything you learned from, your playing experience to actually getting your degree, you just learned not only how to think critically, but also how to create relationships, how to get started in life too. And I think that that's totally invaluable. And especially those are the skills that you're going to learn at, the small colleges like Knox and Gettysburg.
Well, and I think that's the intent of the experience, right? I always kind of look at it in the recruiting side of things, and I tell anybody that sits in my office, my job is to help you find the right spot. I tell recruits, like, this is what we do, how we do it, why we do it, where we do it, when we do it, who you do it with, because you're the consumer of that product. And if my spot's not the right fit, then so be it. Coaches get told no a lot in the recruiting process, and in the best circumstances to help that young man find the right spot for him. And I think that's very important for me these days in an environment that is the transfer in the NIL, and there's perception of what you see out of Division I, and then there's reality of how that impacts the lower levels, D2, the NAI, and the Division III. But there is that residual effect of things that they see, in that process. But for me, the biggest thing is it's a financial investment. Not many kids are going to a Division III institution on a full ride, and so making sure that they're there for the right reasons. And I tell those guys that in my opinion, regardless of whether it's Division I, whether it's Alabama, Georgia, or whether it's Division III and it's Gettysburg or Knox, the top two reasons that really need to be there. I get the football side of things, but 1% of people ever play in the NFL across all divisions. So it needs to be about the academics. Is this place going to prepare me? Whether that's within my major or all of the things, are they going to prepare me to be a professional in whatever it is I choose to do? And then do I like the people, that I'm around in that side of things? And I think that's huge, to talk to guys, that way these days, but it's a hard sell sometimes to really detail some of the other things that you really do get by being in an environment, like what you get at a smaller private institution.
I totally agree. And especially for you recruiting 17 and 18-year-old kids, like, it's tough for them to fully realize it. And it was tough for me. I went there because it was a great fit for me from a football side. Academically, I was like, oh yeah, that'll work itself out. And it did. It actually did. In hindsight, the academics, that's the most important thing. And for any recruits that are watching, I highly recommend not only finding the program that's perfect for you from a football perspective, but you need to find the right fit academically. It's totally cool to just go through this process and not know exactly what you're looking for yet. And for me, I didn't really know exactly what it was, but if you trust the process, and I know it sounds like a cliche, but it really is true. Just trust in yourself, trust in your coaches, and it'll all work out in the end.
Well, you just hit it on the head. I think in a lot of really good ways, and I love hearing that perspective because that's kind of how I talk about it here. I was very similar. Like I made, I was accepted, and I recognized, hey, the strong academics and those side of things. But obviously, I kind of was on the football side of things and whatnot. And I tell people like Knox College taught me how to learn. Like I thought I had this skill set. I thought I was this good student. And no joke, my freshman GPA is here. My GPA within my major is up here, and my cumulative reflects in between. But Knox College kind of taught me how to learn, and that's those skills on that side of things. And it really is about finding a place that you trust the people and you trust the academics and you recognize the value, and if you can really dive into that and trust the process. Because right now, I'm doing a job as a head coach at a college football program, Division III, and you are, running your own company and you're running a podcast right now. I'm pretty sure neither one of our degrees says, podcast host or college football coach, right? Like, and so I think sometimes guys get lost in the minutia in the recruiting process. My degree has to say this, or it's got to be this. And sometimes guys know exactly what they want to do, but there are a ton of other jobs out there too that finding a place that creates that critical thinking skill set, creates the relationships, creates the opportunities for you to explore and pursue passions and interests that then can turn into the business side of things, that can turn into opportunities to be successful as a young adult and make money, right? We ultimately all have to be able to live, right? And I think it's funny that you bring that up, just kind of trusting the process, because like I said, neither yours profession right now or mine are listed on the degree as we walked across the stage, and there's a lot of things like that in the world.
And I'm sure all of my teammates, and I'm sure all your teammates can attest to it. Everything you learned in the classroom from our coaches on the field is all came together to form who we are today. And for the recruits out there, it's just about taking each experience and try to learn something from everything, from every day, from every team meeting, from every practice. And I'm sure you can attest to that as well, Coach. Just going through everything as it comes.
Yeah, 100%. And and I'll date you a little bit, obviously, older than you, right? But your life, in everything that you do and how you adapt and you learn and you grow and handle each situation is a cumulative effect of the things that you've been through, right? And all of us go through different things, and respect to all of those. But recognizing that you don't get to predict the future. You don't get to control something that you can't control, and at the same point in time, you don't get to pick the time when you quote unquote arrive, right? There's never an arrival point or a final destination stop point, right? There's this continuous evolution of you as a young adult, of you as a man, a spouse, an employee, a son, a father, right? All of those types of things, and every one of those individual circumstances is going to impact you and sort of what that carries over into the next side of things. And so I do think sometimes guys have this final destination in mind. This is where I'm supposed to be. Well, sometimes there's other plans and those types of things, and kind of taking it as it comes. And then having the ability to kind of remove oneself from a situation, and then take a peek at it, and then plug yourself back into that situation objectively. And I think that is one of the things that comes from a degree. I think that's part of that critical thinking skill set, right? To take a step back and really kind of look at the bigger picture. And sometimes that's tough as a person, but I think you have to do that at schools, like where you and I went. And then that allows you to continue to grow, as a young adult.
Any last words, Coach, that you want to share with the audience today?
Um, no, I think if guys see this on the recruiting side of things, Knox is always looking for quality young men to come and be a part of our program. One of the cool things about Knox is yes, we are a small town in Western Illinois of about 35,000 people in Galesburg, but we're also one of the more diverse college campuses in the country for across all markers. But we also represent 45 different states and 50 different countries, and so our campus population is across the country, and there are people that come from around the world to learn at Knox, and those types of things. And I'm always looking for winners and workers, I guess the last one that I'll drop on you is, I kind of always hear, are you going to work harder? Are you going to work smarter? Those types of things. And I think there's ability to do both, right? You want to find the most efficient process. That's the smarter part, but at some point you have to pick the hammer up to knock the wall down. And you actually have to do the work, right? You can't spend your entire life trying to find the most efficient process without eventually, making the decision to do the work that goes with whatever it is that we want to do. Whether that's, finding the right school in the recruiting process and taking visits, whether that's, starting a company, whether that's applying for the jobs, or whether that's actually doing, what's expected of you. You got to do both. And, I think that's one of the things too, that an institution, like a Gettysburg, like a Knox, like a lot of colleges around the country can do, just about finding the right fit for you.